So captive belugas and non-captive belugas, and I know there was a whole controversy and BlackFish and whatnot. What is your take on it?
So if we start with BlackFish, briefly, BlackFish was an emotional expression of a story that had a little bit of fact from information that was probably true about 40 years ago. But since then, things have changed dramatically with regard to marine mammals in captivity. But BlackFish was able to catch a hold and create a major controversy and a major shift in people's attitudes towards captivity. Unfortunately, they've switched it to in a direction that is not helpful for anybody, whether it is the animals that are currently in captivity, the animals that could potentially be born in captivity, or the animals that are out in the wild. So the idea of BlackFish and what it was shooting for, which was to release killer whales, which will ultimately lead to other marine mammals and other large terrestrial animals, really is not going to be beneficial in the long run for anybody. We've learned a lot about animals in captivity and how best to care for them in the years that we've had them. And more we're understanding what we need to provide for them in order to take care of them as a welfare way as we can that supports their well-being and their ability to be there. Now, what does that mean for the wild animals? Well, unfortunately, our wild animals don't really have a wild world to be in anymore. Between all of our human activities, our pollution, and the things that we're doing to our oceans and to the habitats these wild animals are supposed to live in, they're becoming more and more encroached and more damaged. And so the idea of being able to go out and see wild animals, so take killer whales of the southern resident population, that is now down to 70-something members from 100 members 10 or 15 years ago, where they're gradually losing young and old members. So that population will be extinguished probably in the next 15 years or so, maybe a little longer, but not much. We experienced in our lifetime the first extinction of a marine mammal, and that was on our watch. We were supposed to be taking care of them, and we didn't. So when you think about the importance of captivity, we need to understand what their biology is, what their physiology is, what the constraints are, what sorts of environmental issues can affect their ability, what kinds of social needs do they have, what kind of habitats, what kind of foraging do they need to have in order to best support their current environments. But the rate we're going, they're not going to have any environments, and if we're going to be able to see what a killer whale looks like, it may be only in captivity.
So I just feel that people want to focus on the bad and the negative aspects on it because that's what sells. That's what their sponsors and the commercial people want, because that's what will sell and that's what will bring viewers.
Yep.
And people just eat that up.
They do. And unfortunately, when people stop using their brains and their reasoning and shoot only for the emotional side of things, they lose sight of the big picture. And when you focus on such a narrow picture, you lose pieces of very critical information.